7, right?
Boy. Is that how you say that?
Hold on. This is the perfect Ravens jersey to wear when you go bowling, right? This is bowling. All I want for Christmas. They said there's something in chocolate that creates the same reaction that marijuana makes in your brain. So next time you only have $3 and you want to catch a buzz, go to the closest supermarket, go to the baking section, and they have these little containers of 100% dark, the dark chocolate stuff, the Coke, whatever it's called. It's like dark chocolate. It's cocoa or something like that. It's called like straight cocoa powder. Like it's 100%. You know, because when these dark chocolate, when you get dark chocolate bars, they say there are a certain percentage of this cocoa stuff, right? You go to the baking section and they got 100%. It's like $3 for a little thing of it. Just, Christ, take the whole thing, mix it up, and just gulp it down real fast. You'll probably, they say it has the same, it affects the brain the same way as marijuana does. So why not, right? It's legal. Ain't no law saying you can't have a cup full of cocoa, you know, hot cocoa, right? That's hot cocoa, yeah. There you go. I'm gonna get arrested for talking about how to drink hot cocoa. You might wonder why I'm holding a margarine butt thing. Because I washed them out and I use them to store, like when I open up the big candy bar, I put it in here and put the top on. This has been in my refrigerator for like a month or something. Inside this container. I used to eat this chocolate with my almonds. I'd mix them up. I'd take a bite of this, throw some almonds in my mouth, and my sister gave this to me for Christmas. It was been years. It was years and years ago. I still have it. It's a cocoa mix. It comes in this like ornament thing. I've always wanted to wait for a special occasion to drink it. I wonder if it's still good. The thing's still cool. It's like this cool little ball thing. It's got cocoa on it. Cocoa. I can't even, how do you say it? They call it hot cocoa or something, right? But that's not the real stuff. The real stuff is straight up 100% that stuff, this dark chocolate, whatever it is. think I'm ready for a relationship with a nice female. Some kind of like drug free, you know, like a legitimate, like I'll be drug free, you know. Shit, it's impossible, isn't it? My standards are way too high, right? That's the problem. My standards are way too high. I want the best of everything, you know? I could care less what, if I was in a relationship and the female was like, she wants to go off to herself and smoke pot, I could care less. I just don't want to be influenced by it, you know? I really, you know, for one, if this community wasn't a drug, if this community that I live in, if this community that I live in wasn't a drug-free community, that's inside or outside, anywhere on the grounds, no smoking, and then I had people over and say, you know, they was smoking, would I be able to resist it? You know, that's the question. Would I be able to resist it? Would I want to smoke too, you know? I don't want to find out, you know what I mean? But trying to make a baby for real. So the oldest religion. Most people, if you ask somebody, I can't say ask. If you ask somebody, that's the thing. I don't think there's such a word as asked. If you ask somebody, it's ask. If you ask somebody, not asks, if you ask. Wow, it's a tongue twister. Ask. If you asks, you don't asks, you ask. If you ask somebody, what is the oldest religion? What do you think they would say? So, all the dictionaries and all the websites and all that, they all say that the oldest religion, they're trying to say it was like 6,000 BC, right? But it's wrong, because you got to start thinking a little deeper into the question, you know. Now, if you're talking about the oldest religion on Earth, it goes back to most people will be like, okay, the oldest. They're gonna look it up. The internet says 6,000 years ago, you know, blah blah blah. Like, you know, ancient Egyptians and you know, cave paintings and stuff like that, right? But the reality, what I figured out was that when our lineage went back far enough to when they started using fire and that's when religion started. When the human brain grew to a point where it was intelligent and started being able to, the minute the human brain evolved to the point where it could start questioning things and understanding things, is when it started truly like coming up with these explanations of the unknown. I mean, you could argue that even like dogs have religion. If you want to get technical, like they're always searching. Everything's unknown to them. You know, no matter how many times a dog walks up to a door, how do I explain that? Dogs seem to be in a constant state of discovery, kind of like I am. You know, everything they do is like something for the first time. No matter how many times they've done it before, it's like they're doing it for the first time. For me, that's how I think too. I'm like, I guess my brain's like primitive, but not really, because I also have intelligence. So, you know, I'm able to like process lots of information and then take my best foot forward, you know. Because the definition of religion is explanations of the unknown. Once you look at the definition of religion as the explanations of the unknown, in relation to the unknown, at what point did humans start to question the unknown? Well, you could say that, you know, even when we were like sub-intelligent beings in our state of evolution, that we questioned everything and had to come up with an explanation, you know? But nobody's going to go that deep into it. You wouldn't imagine, you know? They would say that, oh yeah, when we were cavemen, you know, we started like coming up with these explanations of what was around us, and you know, and then all this like these religions started to form. They started coming up with these explanations to explain things. So that goes back like a million years or something, you know? It goes back like 400, 500,000 years ago. And but the true question is, if somebody says, "What's the oldest religion?" Now, like I said, if you say on Earth, you're gonna go back to you know our evolution when we started to like make little paintings in caves, when we started to come up with explanations of things of the unknown around us. But if you think about it, even on Earth, what if long before humans were even evolving on Earth, that there was another intelligent? Well, they have dinosaurs. For one, how do we know that dinosaurs weren't intelligent? They had no, you know, just because they never built anything or like manipulated matter, you know, they lived like in a wild state. Who's to say that they weren't intelligent? Who's to say that they didn't have complex languages and complex communications and deep understanding and were reaching out and questioning things in the unknown? I mean, who's to say that dinosaurs didn't have religion? You know, so the oldest religion on Earth, you could say, oh, well, what about dinosaurs? Nobody's going to think that, right? Who's going to think that, right? But it makes sense. You know, or what if even before the dinosaurs, what if another being evolved on Earth so long ago that it's impossible to even find a trace of their existence? They could have had religion on Earth, you know? And if you really want to get really in depth and you're saying, what's the oldest religion, period, anywhere, well, there could be aliens from other planets long millions of years ago that were intelligent, that had explanations of the unknown that they shared and they grew faith in or whatever, you know? That they had explanations they started calling these explanations to explain the unknown, things that were out of their grasp of actually, you know, getting a good idea of, you know what I'm saying? And but you could take it even further than that. You could say, what if in a universe, in a state before the atomic, our universe is filled with masses of elements, masses of atoms, and empty space and atomic waste, basically, like what's left over when on an atom, you know, when radiation, right? When atoms decompose, that's what outer space is, radiation, an empty space filled with radiation and atomic structures, right? What if before that, long time ago, before our existence as atomic structures, there wasn't some other kind of reality? Maybe, who knows? Like a string theory. They have these things called string theory. Like what if there was an existence in what you want to call it, the universe? What if there's more than the universe? You know, when I was a kid, they always said that, you know, the universe is just infinite in every direction, just vast amounts of space. It just goes on forever, ever and ever. Lately, they were trying to say that there's a wall to the universe. So you're talking the universe, forever, forever, forever. What was there before that? And if it is an end to the universe, what goes beyond that? Is it just empty space? But wouldn't empty space be something? You know, if I pulled all the, if I created a vacuum and could pull all the atomic structures out of this space right here, does that space still exist? It's simply, it's nothing, but does that space still exist? So by that theory, then, even if the universe comes to an end, but it's just what's there, you know? Now with the infinite universe in every direction, you know, then they say that it's always been and it always will be. They talk about a Big Bang. They talk about what about atomic structures? When did atoms actually become part of the universe? What if long time ago the universe was still there, the infinite space was still there, but there was something else? There was no atoms, but there was something else, some other kind of force, some other kind of energy that was different from atoms, that made up the universe and made up the planets, different kind of structures, you know. They say atoms are like little balls of energy, right? Well, what if it was like some complex, like multi-shaped, like geometry kind of like, you know, like a geometric. What if it was like, what if there was energy that was in some kind of geometric shape that worked differently, that still had forces and pulls and energy, but different from the atoms that make up, you know, what's around us, and as far as we know, that we can see with our telescopes, far out away from us in space, or maybe something we just can't grasp in our minds, maybe the empty. Well, if it was always been there and it always will be, the empty space, and if atomic structures weren't there always, what did they come from? Maybe it's like a natural just order of, you know, there could have been like these geometrical shapes that had energy that worked kind of like atoms, but not really. Maybe, you know, maybe they didn't have electrons going around them. Maybe there wasn't protons and neutrons. Maybe they were some different kind of geometrical shape of you know, that bonded in some kind of different way, and made up some kind of intelligent life from it. Maybe those structures that amassified into one, and that were maybe somehow that kind of stuff actually, you know, something like DNA, but like it could be different, you know. And maybe there was intelligent life from that from that state that had religion as well, you know. So, and if the universe goes infinite back into time, into the future, then we talk about that Big Bang. What blew up? Maybe it was these geometrical structures that made up the mass and existence of things in the universe. You know, maybe something happened. Maybe they all, like some super massive like vacuum pulled it all, like what if all the atoms what if all the atomic structures as we know it, as far as the universe goes, all of a sudden just somehow just all came back into one, and then so maybe it was like these geometrical shapes that made up like building blocks of an existence of mass, but mass in a different understanding, and these, you know, maybe they all came together, blew up, and then through the explosion, atoms were formed from that, maybe. So when you say where did religion start, you know, there might not be a number. You might, okay. Essentially, you can always say one more. So take the biggest number that you could express with a word, you know, and go back that far back, you know, that many times over, you know. And there could have been intelligent life that had explanations of the unknown and could have, you know, just the basic beginnings of religion itself, the real simplistic religions that are, you know, it could just be simply that they see their life forms decomposing, and they have an explanation that the body goes into the earth and it comes up as plants, and then maybe that's just this explanation of death that they had. But that's religion, and that could have been before atoms were even in the universe. It could have been something we can't even grasp with our understanding, that doesn't even fit into our ability to comprehend. You know, energy. What if it was something that nobody ever could figure out? You know, like you know, like when you come to that point, when you think from those words, it's such a deep, just wow. It just wows me. It's like, could there have existed something that the definition of existence can't define? Wow, you know, pretty crazy, right? So when they say, what's the oldest religion? And you understand religion as explanations of the unknown, in relation to the unknown, you know, infinite universe, infinite space, infinite time, you know. Anyway, yo, as I speculate the universe, understanding atoms and explosions and contemplations of times long before, understanding that long before atoms even existed, there could have been structures, geometrical structures that brought a different kind of existence, that had religion so many years ago you can't even count if you had half the time of the universe, yo, because it's got another half and it goes on forever. Understand, like the weather, something we can't understand. You got the plan to make the sand, yo, make the sand out of your mind. Understand, walking through the forest like you ain't got a rhyme. Yo, I'm done with this one this time.